Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome. If you please recite a salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I'd just like to welcome everyone here. And tonight's gathering is because we know it's the holy month of Ramadan, which is special and dear to all Muslims. And we'd like to welcome our special guests that we'd like to share this experience with Break the Fast and have some interfaith dialogue, inshallah. So some of the special guests we have here today, I'll name them to welcome them. First of all, Member of Parliament, Deepak Oberoi, the Minister of Human Resources from the constituency of McCall, Mr. Irfan Sabir, the President of the Democratic Advancement Party of Canada, Mr. Stephen Garvey, the MLA for NDP from the Glenmore riding, Anam Kazim, and from the Pakistan Post West, Brother Ghulam Mustafa. We have a few more guests on their way from the Christian and Jewish communities, and when they get here, we will welcome them. So before we begin the speeches, I'd like to give a short speech of my own defining Islam. And there's actually a really big Islamic scholar by the name of Sheikh Mansoor Lagai, and he quotes Imam Ali alayhi salam, and he gives the hadith of the definition of Islam from him. So what Imam Ali, peace be upon him, has told us is that he's going to introduce Islam to us in a way that no one can define it more precisely. He says that first, Islam means submission. Then, the reality of submission means acknowledging God and acknowledging all that He has given us. Acknowledgement means certainty, because you will not acknowledge something unless you truly believe it. Once you are certain about something, you will deliver, because you'll want to deliver the message of the truth you believe is the certain truth. And deliverance means action. So in a nutshell, the meaning of Islam is action. So the purpose of revelation and worshiping God and praying and reading Quran, all of this is there to soften our hearts, to make us more inclined, kind and compassionate, so that we will be more willing to help someone in need. There's also a story about Imam Ali where he was passing by a group of youth and they were practicing their Arabic, trying to perfect their Quran. What Imam Ali told them was that you need to focus more on the grammar of your actions than the grammar of your speech, because in the end it is the kind deeds and the good actions you commit that are the true voice of your character. Your actions define you more than your words. So now I'd like to call up Maulana Sayyid Hadi to give a short speech. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Sayyidina wa maulana Abil Qasim al-Mustafa Muhammad. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين أما بعد. First of all, I'd like to greet all of you with Islamic greeting. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and mercy and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be on all of you. Today we are here to share some thoughts, ideas with our brothers and sisters in faith or in humanity. As Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, when he appointed Malik al-Ashtar one of his prominent companions to Egypt as a governor. He gave him a covenant. And in that covenant, he ordered Malik al-Ashtar, O Malik, treat with all the people equally, with fairness and justice. Because people can be classified only in two groups. إِمَّا أَخٌ لَكَ فِي الدِّينِ أَوْ نَظِيرٌ لَكَ فِي الْخَلْقِ. Whether they are your brothers in faith or whether they are your brothers in humanity. Here is a short presentation, but definitely we don't have much of the time, so we'll go very quickly. I'd like to share with you some inspiring aspects of Islam. First point, a continuation of the same truth given to previous prophets. Islam is not a new religion. Islam is the continuation of the same religion sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through many messengers such as Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus. That's why Islam looks very similar to Judaism and Christianity. Equality, this is one of the important features of Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala announces clearly in the noble Quran, Ya ayyuhan nas, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha, وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. O mankind, we've created you from male and female, and we've made you in different tribes and nations. But all these are for you to recognize each other, not to abase each other, not to humiliate each other. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Indeed, before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the sight of Allah, the one who is the more righteous is the more respectable and honorable. And the concept of salvation in Islam. For that purpose, I've written an article. The brochure is there, so I'd like to request brothers over there to pass it to our guests so they can read it. The concept of salvation in Islam. And this is in fact a very important subject. Because of this subject, religious communities, they fight with each other and they create a lot of problems for themselves and for the others. And for these two reasons, in fact, those people who are neither Christian nor Muslim nor Jew, they follow no religion, they blame all the religions. All the religions, they are playing politics and they are doing such and such and they are horrible. They know nothing but bloodshed. So what's the solution of this problem? In fact, we need to broaden our horizon. We need to broaden our understanding. And Islamic concept of salvation, as you can read in that article, is tremendous. I think it's not working from here, so please could you move to the next slide? Yeah. Third point I'd like to share with you is caring for others irrespective of their creeds and color. Islam always instructs its followers, not only its followers, the whole world, to care for others, such as neighbors. Usually our definition of neighbor is those who are attached to our home. But Islam says no. Your neighbors are all those who live in all directions, 40 houses in all directions. They are your neighbors and you are responsible for them. And there is a beautiful saying of Prophet Muhammad, and that beautiful saying is in fact the hallmark for a Muslim. Prophet Muhammad used to say, if you as a devout Muslim have fulfilled all your responsibilities, all your religious responsibilities, you performed your prayers, you've done your Hajj, and you are sleeping, and you are full. But you are aware that in your neighbor, there is a person, irrespective of his or her religion or color or creed, such as, for example, that individual is a polytheist, that individual is a Hindu, that individual is a Sikh or Christian or Jew or aware that there is a struggle because of hunger, and you fulfill all your responsibilities and you are resting sound. And just imagine if that night Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends death angel to you and you die. Even though you fulfill all your responsibilities, but because of neglecting your neighbor, your abode will be nowhere but hellfire. So this Islamic concept of helping others. And we all are aware of Imam Ali, how cautious he was about Jews, about Christians, about all other faith communities. It is reported in history that one time Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, during his reign, he saw a beggar. When Imam Ali saw the beggar, he asked people why this individual is begging. People told him, Ya Amir al-Mu'minin, he's a Christian. Imam frowned and told them, I am not asking his religion. I'm asking why that individual is begging. This question of Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam is in fact a challenge for the politicians. At that time, even though Imam Ali's 4 years and a few months reign was full of calamities, sufferings created by worldly people, but yet Imam Ali managed to improve the financial and economic system of the society, that if a person was found begging, it was a kind of strange thing. So this is in fact a challenge for all the politicians, how hard they need to work. When people said, he's a Christian, Imam Ali said, no, I don't mean this. Then Imam Ali asked that person to come forward. And when he came forward and he explained his story, Imam Ali found out that he was a blind man. Immediately, Imam Ali told people, you must maintain him financially. And Imam Ali wrote a letter dictating the public treasury to give him enough so he can live a decent life and he doesn't need to beg to people. And definitely we are in the month of fasting, and fasting is not something exclusive to Islam. Different religions, they fast and they observe fasting in their own way. Hindus, our Hindu brothers, they fast and they call it upwas, or there are different terms for that. Our Christian brothers, they also have this type of fasting, our Jewish brothers, but definitely for whole month of fasting. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has meant by whole month of fasting to provide a decisive training to Muslims. This is the main purpose of fasting. Definitely increasing the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because fasting is a kind of sacrifice and no love can be determined without sacrifice. So we are fasting to exercise the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and improve the love of Allah within our hearts. But besides these, there are many other social benefits of fasting. When you are fasting, you think about those people who are really struggling, who do not have enough to feed themselves, their children. And when you fast, definitely you save. When you save, you have more to spend. So this is the purpose of fasting. And one of the beauties of Islam is endorsement of other cultures and traditions. There are many occasions, many historical occasions, which we can refer to prove this fact. But I'm mentioning just one point. One time, Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq, our sixth Imam, the sixth descendant of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he was passing by a companion of him, and his companion was accompanied by one of his servants. The servant was not a Muslim. After a few while, something happened in the way that the companion of Imam Ja'far Sadiq shouted at his servant, and he abused his mother. History says at that point Imam Ja'far Sadiq stood still and he asked his companion, what did you say right now? It's strange to me. He replied, oh, son of the messenger of God, you know, this slave or this servant is not a Muslim. Imam said, okay, he's not a Muslim, but you are not allowed to abuse his mother. or blame him of illegitimacy. After all, he has parents, and his parents, based on their religions, whatsoever religion they had, they engaged in marriage. You must not be thinking in this way. Islam recognizes all the cultures and all the faith. If somebody engages in marital relationship based on their culture, and just suppose that individual accepts Islam, embraces Islam, Islam does not say reunite them, or the marriage formula should be re-solemnized. No, Islam accepts their cultures and their trends and their customs. And history says, since then Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam refused to see his companion. And Imam told him, you are my company, you are sitting in my company, but you are so narrow-minded. This is not going to be tolerated, accepted. Forgiveness. There is a verse in Quran, just one verse I'm mentioning. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this is the month of Ramadan. We all yearn for forgiveness. We all beseech Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always to forgive us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us the easiest way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلْيَعْفُوا وَلْيَصْفَحُوا أَلَا تُحِبُّونَ أَنْ يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. You must forgive others. Don't you love to be forgiven by Allah? If you want to be forgiven by Allah, the easiest way is to forgive others. You forgive others, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive you. And Imam Hussein, definitely Imam Hussein is our identity. We live with this identity and we are proud of this identity. In the desert of Karbala, in the plains of Karbala, Imam Hussein was drowned in his blood, and the blood of his children, his nephews, his friends, closest friends. But yet history says when he came to the enemies, at least 30,000 enemies, Imam stood in front of them and offered them his forgiveness. And Imam clearly told them, still I am here to forgive you. You have killed my whole family. You have killed my sons, my nephews, my brothers, my family members, 71 individuals from my family members and my friends. But I'm still here to forgive you if you just change yourself. So this is the utmost level of forgiveness. Those who are familiar with the story of Karbala, they know how tragic that event is. So this is the concept of forgiveness in Islam. Now the last point, the question is, after all these bright and inspiring points of Islam, our non-Muslim friends might be thinking, if Islam is so and so, then why some Muslims are terrorists? Then why Muslims are behaving in this way, reacting in this way? My first question is, who should you blame, the car or the driver? If someone is riding the latest model of car and he, out of negligence, kills somebody, takes somebody's life, who should be blamed? The car or the driver? So Islam is like car and Muslims are like drivers. They are not driving this car responsibility. What's the problem with Islam? The problem is all with Muslims. Second question is, are these individuals Muslims? Taliban, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Al-Shabaab, Boko Haram, is any of them Muslim? If that is Islam, then I am the first person to abolish Islam, to stand against Islam. Definitely, Islam is something completely different from whatever they are presenting in the name of Islam. Let me just ask you a quick question and then conclude. If these are Muslims and they are doing Islamic jihad, they are fighting for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then why their 95%, over 95% victims are Muslims themselves? I've calculated. You go and calculate by yourself. Search on Google and elsewhere. And it will become evident for you that over 95% of their victims, the victims of ISIS, the victims of Taliban, the victims of Al-Shabaab, Boko Haram, over 90% of their victims are Muslims themselves. This clearly proves they have to do nothing with Islam. Now, we don't have much time, so I conclude here. And there is a beautiful dua. Inshallah, we all read together that dua at the end of the program. From Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Thank you very much.
Before we continue, I'd just like to say it's almost 9:50, so for our Sunni brothers, there's dates and ruafza and some water, so feel free to break your fasts. After 5 minutes. Yeah, for sure. Okay. And now I'd like to call a few of our special guests to give some short speeches. Just keeping time in mind, keep it around 3 minutes and on the topic of interfaith. Thank you. So first I'd like to call up Mr. Deepak Oberoi to give his speech. And the purpose of this is just so the community understands who they are and what they do, inshallah. And also, if everyone could just move forward, there's some people standing in the back. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. It's a great honor and a privilege to be here tonight to share iftar with the Muslim community out here in Calgary. I want to thank specifically to Mike Tahir, Muzaffar Tahir, for inviting me today out here. So thank you very, very much. A great pleasure and an honor to be here. Of course, the Muslim community is a very vital part of Calgary. You know, they have done a tremendous contribution to the well-being of Canada, the well-being of all Canadians. And quite frankly speaking, as Imam said today about those jihadists and everybody who have been giving a bad name to Islam. But I grew up in Africa, in Tanzania. My best friends were Islam. The Islam that I know is not the Islam of today, who these people are talking about. It is the Islam of religion of peace. You know, I used to break fast with my best friend, was Shaukat Ali, at his house I used to go because I thought that was the best food during Ramadan. You know, and and my next door neighbor was a member of the Bohra community, Shia community. And so we all lived with each other, right next to each other. And what you see now, among the ISIL, Boko Haram, and all the others, where they are saying that those who do not subscribe to their form of Islam, they kill them, whether it is. And you're absolutely right, Imam, that majority of the victims have been Muslims themselves, you know, because they are the ones they live with. Now, this narrowness out here, I'm very happy to say, despite the fact, now I'm a parliamentary secretary for foreign affairs, so one of my responsibility is foreign affairs, of which to deal with all the countries. I've been to Pakistan 3 times, all the Muslim countries around the world, and I engage with them deeper and deeper in how to handle this thing and how the Muslim communities around the world are facing challenges from these individuals, and that has also come into Canada, all right? The attack on the parliament, I was at that time with the Prime Minister when the attack took place on Parliament Hill, and all in the wrong name of Islam, all in the wrong name. I don't know why people want to use the word Islam out here. For example, Bill C-51, which is that anybody who is a terrorist, you know, the community can, the security services can actually have a bigger power. And who raises the issue? The opposition raises the issue and says Muslims are being targeted. My question to them is, why in the first place did you bring the word Muslim into this? Why do you say Muslims are being targeted? You know, the act that took place in Victoria to blow up the building, they were not Muslims, man. They were Caucasians who wanted to do the terrorist acts because they did not believe it. But just to identify Muslim at all the time, Bill C-51 is for those who are terrorists, who break the law. You and me and anybody else out here, 99% of Canadians have no interest, will never break the law. We don't break the law. We abide by the law out here. So why is this thing being targeted towards this thing, you know? But we do have a danger, as the Imam rightly pointed out, from other groups. And so we have to be vigilant. So once more, I am delighted to be here. The time is short. I don't want to take too much time. Just the last pitch here. You know, I've been your member of parliament for those who live in Calgary East for the last 18 years. I've met many friends. All of you are my friends who have been there. It's been a great honor and a privilege for me to serve the Muslim community, you being my constituents. And I always look, and I have received a huge amount of support. So first of all, let me say thank you very, very much for the past support that you have been giving me. You know, it has helped me do my work very well in the Parliament of Canada. But also now I'm going back again in the elections coming up in October. And, you know, again, once more, I'm running for this riding out here. And so I would again, once more, look for your confidence and your support to do that. So thank you very, very much, inshallah.
Okay. Thank you for that speech, Mr. Deepak Oberoi. Next, I just want to point out that we have around 10 minutes left. So with that being said, I'd like to call up Sister Anam Kazim from the sister side, who is an MLA for the Glenmore riding. Okay. And if you could just keep the speech short and to the point, that'd be amazing. Thank you.
Yes, I think. Hello. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Today, my topic of speech is to talk about the importance of unity in Islam. Considering that the time we have is limited, so I will keep it short as much as I can. So starting from the meaning of the word unity, I would like to mention that the word unity means harmony or agreement between people or groups. And Islam is a strong advocate to promote this harmony and agreement amongst people. For instance, in regards to race or racial discrimination, God clearly says, "O mankind, we have created you from one male and one female, and then we made you into different races and tribes so that you may know and easily recognize each other. Therefore, none of us can consider ourselves to be superior or inferior over others." In regards to gender, God says, "Whoever, be it a male or female, does good deeds and he or she is a believer, then they will enter the paradise." So there is no difference in the degree or level of women's humanity or honor in Islam. In addition, Imam Ali alayhi salam said, "Be respectful to women, for they are the mothers of mankind." In Islam, men and women are equal in rights, but equality is not synonymous to similarity. Islam believes that men and women are equal but dissimilar. Islam looks at their different roles in society not as superior or inferior, but as complementary to each other. As described above, Islam is a religion of peace. Therefore, one of the best ways to spread this message of peace was to teach Muslims to greet. This was because every time we greet someone, we use a polite word or sign of welcome or recognition to someone on meeting. Thus, Muslims were taught to say Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be upon you. In fact, in regards to greeting, Imam Hussain alayhi salam said, "There are 70 advantages for the greeting. 69 are given to the one who greets first, and one is given to the one who responds to the greeting." Now the question comes, after we greet, initiate the conversation, why it is important to promote unity amongst ourselves and how we can unite ourselves. Imam Ali alayhi salam said, "Loving one another is half of wisdom." He also said, "You should beware of division, because the one isolated from the group is a prey to Satan, just as the one isolated from the flock of sheep is a prey to the wolf." Therefore, we can see if we isolate ourselves, the sense of belonging, security, and protection is lost. Also, by being together, we develop synergy. meaning we become capable to produce combined effect greater than the sum of the effects produced separately by each individual. Imam Ali alayhi salam also described how we can unite ourselves. He said, "He is truly your brother who will forgive your mistake, meet your need, accept your excuse, cover your imperfection, expel your fear, and fulfill your expectation." If we look at a bigger picture around ourselves, we see diversity in everything. God created this earth, which is the best example of diversity and unity, and as described in Nahjul Balagha, the peak of eloquence. In His creation, the big, the delicate, the heavy, the light, the strong, the weak are all equal. So is the sky, the air, the winds, and the water. Therefore, you look at the sun, moon, vegetation, plants, water, stone, the difference of this night and day, the springing of the streams, the large number of the mountains, the height of their peaks, the diversity of languages, and the variety of tongues. They're all different, but they all work together collectively with uniformity to sustain the earth where we all dwell in. Now, I would like to emphasize on the words community, opportunity, and immunity, which all contain the word unity in the end and are significant because unity builds community, giving it the opportunity for prosperity and to have the immunity against evil and misdeeds. In conclusion, unity is the key to build the society of piety, and Islam, which means in Arab peace, conveys the message and advocates us to promote unity amongst ourselves, to promote our society, and be there for each other in every walk of life. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Sister Anum Kazim, for that wonderful speech. And next, I'd like to call up Mr. Irfan Sabir for his speech. Thank you.
نعبد ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I think I'm left with a couple of minutes, so I will be really brief. First, I congratulate Hussainiya Association for putting together this event and providing us this opportunity to get together. One thing which is different about this event is, and I've been to few other events, that people from different faith, different religious backgrounds, I can see them present in those events. Canada, which is a multicultural country, and this country, the followers of Islam are the third biggest, if I'm not wrong, third biggest population in Canada. And I think such events are very vital, very important to develop and communicate the true understanding of Islam to the other people in Canada, and that will get us to our ideal of a true multicultural society which understands each other's faith, which respects each other's faiths, and can live with peace and harmony. The second thing, fasting is one of the 5 constituent and foundational prayers in Islam. The personal aspect, the prayer aspect aside, it has a very important societal aspect to it, and which urges and encourages to realize and recognize the needs of others, what hunger means, what it means to live without water for this long. So recognizing other people need, realizing other people need, that's the aspect which is societal and has very far-reaching implications. And Islam is a religion which is not content with just realizing them or recognizing them. It urges to take steps to play that needed role to meet the needs of those who are hungry, to reach out to those who need a hand. And one last thing, then I will conclude. I used to live very close to Imam Barga in Muzaffarabad, Azad Kashmir. And I remember a story from Imam there, Mufti Kafayat Naqvi Sahib. He said that when Imam Ali Maqam and Imam Hassan, they were young, they fell sick. So their parents prayed for their good health, and they pledged that they will fast for 3 days when they will get well. So when they got well, the family of 4, along with one of their, for a lack of better words, Kani's servant, they began fasting for 3 days. And on every night, when it's time to break the fast, Gabriel will appear in the form of a hungry person looking for food, a needy person. And not only that one person, all 5 of them will hand that food to that person, which was Gabriel, in fact. So that actually shows the real purpose of fasting, that even though you were hungry all day, even though you were fasting all day, but there comes somebody who needs food, there comes somebody who asks for food, and you just sacrifice your needs and hand over that food to that person. I thank again Sanya Association for inviting me here, and with this I will finish, and Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much for that nice speech, Mr. Irfan Saber. Now I'd just like to call up Stephen Garvey to give a short speech right before we pray namaz. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. I send best wishes to everyone here for Holy Ramadan. I feel tonight's a really important evening demonstrating inclusiveness. The Husseini Association is setting an example for all Canadians of cross-cultural and religious dialogue coming together in the union that our sister over there was talking about. That's fundamental, and we need to practice it, and this is action. So I commend this. Excellent. We need to take it further too. The Shiite community needs to be included in Canada, the Canadian Shiites. They need to be included in the decision making because they have a voice too. And that, I say that for all ethnic groups in Canada. We need to make sure that everyone is at the table and sharing their perspective. We're all different as individuals and as ethnic groups. If we're going to get the true value of multiculturalism, we need to take it further and embrace that. And the analogy that I like hearing is it's a flower bed of many different beautiful flowers. So let's embrace that. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen Garvey. So right before closing remarks, I'd just like to say that we'll be having namaz here in the main hall. So everyone who is praying, please stay here. And following namaz will be dinner. So right before Azan, I'd like to call up Brother Shabir Rizvi, the president of Husseini Association of Calgary, for the closing remarks. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and God bless you all. Thank you very much for our respected guests, and on behalf of Hosseini Association of Calgary and its community, we all are very thankful to all our respected guests who have taken time from their busy schedule and come to this important event, which is Interfaith meeting. And these type of interaction are very important to develop harmony, understanding, and multiculturalism, which is an important ingredient of the Canadian society. And we should take advantage of this. So this is one of the good example that all different cross sections are here to represent them and to see they are part. So we are also part of them. They are also part of us. We should all respect each other. We should all become an example for other communities, for other areas throughout Canada, throughout the world. It is very important, and I really encourage that these type of events should be more frequent so that we can develop a better rapport, improved understanding, so that we can live in harmony, peace, and in a long-lasting relationship. Again, I would like to thank you on behalf of the community. So Hosseini Association, which is representative of the Shia community in Calgary, I'm very grateful to all of you. And I know that it's time for Salat and also breakfast. So I will, with my thankful word, I would just finish. And again, hopefully, inshallah, this community will see you soon, inshallah. Bar Muhammad wa alihi wa salawat. So there will be a salat time, and in the meantime, our guests can